things that I know quite a bit about is the F-18 line, because it's in St. Louis, Missouri, where Boeing military is. How do we keep our capacity at a time when there's this talk about cutting, and not just cutting, but sort of cutting everything a little bit?
Well, Senator, you have just again identified one of the great challenges that lies ahead, and that is maintaining our industrial base.
That was relatively one of the more cordial exchanges during Thursday's confirmation hearing for Defense Secretary nominee Chuck Hagel and a Republican who faced a barrage of questions ranging from a little bit on sequestration, a lot on Israel, and some on military readiness. Joining me now, the man you just saw, Missouri Republican Senator Roy Blunt. Senator Blunt, let me ask you about the range of questions. Was there enough questions asked about Afghanistan? Were there enough questions asked about what you asked, which is about the issue of the budget cuts and sequestration and the Defense Department growing forward?
Well, I thought that the questions I asked were the questions that were really the questions that whoever the next Secretary of Defense is going to have to deal with. How you manage this department, how we look to the future. Do you try to do your best so that strategy drives the money? You make an argument this is what you need money for, or do you just sit back and see how much money the administration and the Congress gives you, and then you try to spend that in the best possible way? So I would have liked to have seen more of that, but I clearly understand from the questions yesterday, the past comments and the walking away from those comments in the last couple of weeks. One of my colleagues, not on the committee yesterday, but one of them called it a confirmation conversion, where suddenly all these positions are not quite what they pretty aggressively have been for a long time.
You think too much time, though, was spent on that?
Well, I don't know how you could spend too much time on that. I do think that the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of State are the people that are going to have a lot to say about what our country looks like in the foreign policy world for the next 25 years, maybe more than any Secretary of State and Defense in a long time, because clearly the President is ready to rethink our strategy. This leading from behind strategy has not been the strategy of the country for a generation, but it looks like that's where the President wants to go, and frankly, it looks like that's where Senator Hagel would want to join him.
Are you a definite no vote on Chuck Hagel?
Yeah, I think I am. I say I think I am because I haven't announced that until now, but I've thought about this a lot since yesterday. I want to give the President the benefit of a doubt in who he can bring to his cabinet with him and who can join him in the cabinet. But in this job at this time, things like the Senator Hagel's comments on containment, I think he really does believe, based on his statements yesterday, even though he backed away from them later, that we could contain a nuclear Iran. I don't think we could contain a nuclear Iran. I think it's too dangerous for us to try that. And so I will be voting no in the committee, and then assuming there's a vote on the floor, I'll be voting no on the floor.
There's a third way to vote no on him, which of course is the issue of a filibuster. Would you support a filibuster of Chuck Hagel's nomination?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I think for somebody who's going to be there the length of time the President serves as opposed to a Supreme Court judge, that a majority in the Senate should be able to confirm. I wouldn't intend to be part of that majority, but certainly my strong inclination would be that this is a vote that should be done by a majority rather than a 60-vote standard. And this person's going to leave the day the President leaves. That makes a difference.